Greetings and salutations, everyone. Today we are talking about the most intellectually stimulating of topics, the subject matter to be discussed for a lifetime and disgusted with for a lifetime, left-wing and right-wing politics.
Oh fuck,
And
this was meant to be casual conversation, not formal conversation. I don't have a fancy enough powdered wig for this.
we don't need powdered wigs. I mean, this is just this casual convo is just an excuse for me to bitch about this because I had a conversation with a friend recently
Oh,
where he's like, we've been through it. He kind of got it and agreed with me for a time, but then he just like changed recently, and I'm just like, ah, oh, fucking Christ, I have to prove it to this guy all over again. I mean, okay, the argument for those being legit political terms is that they are used political terms. But that's really it. They don't mean anything. They never have. It started in the French court, with Louis the, I don't know, 15th, 16th. The
14th.
one that, huh?
Louis the 14th.
14th. Yeah, and he had his head chopped off. But before that happened, there was basically a whole situation where people sitting to like the left and the right were either on one side supporters of the king and on the other side supporters of the revolution. That's literally all it meant back then. And then it transitions to British politics, meaning fairly the same thing, but then it kind of morphed into a very vague,
It
very
morphed into an
vague
amorphous
set of
blob.
notions. Well, kinda, yeah. I mean, in an intellectual sense, that's what it is. It's malleable. It's interchangeable with buzzwords. They are just buzzwords. They don't really mean anything. One person's left is another person's right. I have been called a left-wing communist and a right-wing fascist in the exact same sentence of the exact same conversation. Same person, same sentence,
I
same
think that
conversation. It's
technically
crazy.
means you're a centrist.
God. See, actually,
Oh,
that is my favorite example to bring up is something you'll see in a second. Because I'll say to people, all right, pick a supposedly left-wing policy. Let's do it now. Horst, pick a supposedly left-wing policy.
the Second Amendment of the US Constitution should be held to be sacrosanct. Any attempt to disarm the workers shall be frustrated by force if necessary.
Okay, so basically, right to own a gun for everyone.
The right to use a firearm in your defense and the defense of your friends, yes.
Okay, so the right to own and use a firearm when necessary.
Yeah, the right to keep and bear arms.
All right, the right to keep and bear arms. Now, unrelated to that policy, pick a supposedly. Wait, was that a left wing or right wing policy?
Yes, that was left wing.
um. See, okay, that's kind of funny. I know what you're about to get to with that, and I welcome it with open arms. But let's go. What do you say, right wing policy that is unrelated to that?
That infringements on the liberty of a renter to keep a domestic pet are morally abhorrent, and the government should not allow landlords to have that much power. It's just making landlords into another arm of government.
So basically, let people own the guns and let people have the pets.
Yep.
Put those together. I mean, do they make a centrist?
No,
I
they
mean,
make a very, very well-armed crazy cat person.
congratulations, we just invented the party of the very well-armed crazy cat people. To be honest, that actually sounds pretty fucking awesome. I want to join that party now. I imagine that as both a political party and like a block party at the same time. All the pets. There's actually a cat cafe in Sydney. Catmosphere. You should go there. It's great. Oh, wonderful.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's, like that's how easy it is to break supposedly left wing and supposedly right wing policies. Now, that being said, some
I'm also
people.
just waiting for the tirade in the comments saying that I've reversed left and right. To which I say, no, I didn't. I actually bloody read the foundational documents of a bunch of political positions, and you clearly don't.
Yeah, and why don't you tell us who made those sorry, not financial foundational documents to those political positions? Why don't you explain why those policies are supposedly left wing and right wing?
The right of the worker, no, any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force, if necessary. Vladimir Ivanovich Lenin,
Mm,
founding father of leftism turned into actual government as opposed to being a weird philosophical position. And as for the small government position, I went a little bit more towards the extreme libertarian viewpoint of the right wing, as opposed to the strong authoritarian arm of it. But those are both aspects of what we would call right wing politics.
mm,
And the libertarian position is get the government out of my goddamn life.
yeah. Now the thing is, like, there's one more aspect to that, and that is that if you like you, I mean, you already did it. Like, you reversed the left and right monikers there, and even with a very justifiable historical bases for that. There's a very justifiable historical basis for what you just put
Yeah,
forward,
and some
and
person in the comments
yeah,
is going to tell me that I don't understand what left wing politics is. And you're like, bitch, I
well,
worked for a fucking Trotskyite for 7 years. Suck my nuts.
not gonna lie, I still kind of like Trotsky. I don't know. He kind of spoke to me as that, like, he actually did important shit and he was a good organizer.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, if there's one communist that I'm like, that basically I can, in a metaphorical sense, flirt with it, I think it's Trotsky. Um, I get the feeling he actually wanted to do good shit and he tried. He really tried.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so that's how easy it is to break these terms. Like, and if you flip the left wing and right wing labels, nothing changes. Nothing at all changes. However, if you say humanist and corporatist to describe certain policies, it is a humanist policy to want to have a strong social safety net. It is a corporatist policy to want corporations to pay as little tax as possible. However, if you try and say that it's a humanist policy for corporations to pay as little tax as possible, that's not really a humanist policy. You could try and argue that it benefits the human interest somehow. I disagree, but and then you flip the other one, and a strong social safety net would actually end up with corporations, well, with at least somebody needing to foot the bill for that.
And yet, a
Um,
strong social safety net would also give people more money that they would invariably use to enrich corporations, providing them goods and services.
yeah, I mean, hell, that's what we saw with Rudd's stimulus packages. That's what we saw with the what the unions came up with, and then ScoMo and crew took credit for with
With
the with
JobKeeper.
JobKeeper. Yeah, and so it's like those terms. The thing is, though, that those terms, like, ones that they're clearly defined when you use like very descriptive, more descriptive labels. A humanist policy is something that benefits the human interest. A corporatist policy is something that benefits the corporate interest.
Yeah.
An environmentalist policy is something that benefits the environment. And you could say culturalist is basically something a focus on culture. They actually describe and define something, whereas left and right don't define anything. They're mostly just used by media machines to build straw mans to then burn and act like they've won a debate, when really they haven't debated anything. They've just built up this bullshit straw man to represent their political opponents, and then they've burned it to pretend like they won a fight when they've won nothing, and they haven't even had the fight, let alone won. We've run out of time. Anything you'd like to add to that?
I think you've just described very classic debating in bad faith techniques. And I
Yeah.
think the fact that I've just defined them as such says a lot about basically everything that's going on.
Yeah. Says a lot about this left wing and right wing politics
Like,
and how shitty media machines are.
as far as I'm concerned, the left wing is the devil on my shoulder and the right wing is the angel on my shoulder. And they're both telling me that if I don't take action, I'm not going to have a better future. And your angels and your demons should be telling all of you that.
Yeah. Watch our episode about why most
Workers of
people
the
are reluctant to
world,
get.
unite! You have nothing to lose but your chains.
Jeez. All right, you commie. But seriously, guys, watch our episode on why people tend to be reluctant to get in politics, and then watch our series on getting involved in politics. They're both really good, and in that order.
Yes, yes.
See you later, everyone.
Take care, all.